Weakness is one of the most common neurological presentations. The key to localization is determining where along the motor pathway the lesion is located. The first and most important step is to decide whether the patient has upper motor neuron signs or lower motor neuron signs. Upper motor neuron signs include spasticity, increased muscle tone, hyperreflexia, clonus, and an extensor plantar response, also known as the Babitsky sign. Lower motor neuron signs include muscle wasting or atrophy, fasciculations, hypotonia, and reduced or absent reflexes. If upper motor neuron signs are present, the next step is to localize the lesion within the central nervous system. First, look for cortical signs. These include aphasia, neglect, seizures, visual field defects, or cortical sensory loss. The presence of any of these features strongly suggests a lesion in the cerebral cortex. Patients typically have weakness on the side opposite the lesion along with these higher cortical deficits. If cortical signs are absent, assess for cranial nerve involvement. Ipsilateral cranial nerve palsies combined with contralateral limb weakness, often referred to as crossed findings, are highly suggestive of a brainstem lesion. Depending on the level of the brainstem involved, patients may also have diplopia, dysarthria, dysphagia, vertigo, or ataxia. If cranial nerve signs are absent, determine whether there is a sensory level or bowel and bladder dysfunction. The presence of a sensory level together with bilateral upper motor neuron signs below the lesion strongly indicates spinal cord involvement. Lower motor neuron signs may also be present at the level of the lesion due to involvement of the anterior horn cells or nerve roots. If there are no cortical signs, no cranial nerve findings, and no evidence of spinal cord involvement, the lesion is most likely located in the internal capsule or the subcortical white matter, including the corona radiata. Internal capsule lesions classically produce dense contralateral weakness involving the face, arm, and leg, often without cortical signs. Lesions in the subcortical white matter may produce pure motor or sensorimotor deficits, and the severity depends on which fiber tracts are involved. If lower motor neuron signs are present, the next question is whether sensory loss is present. Objective sensory loss indicates that the lesion is within the peripheral nervous system. The pattern of weakness and sensory impairment helps determine the exact location. If the deficit is confined to the distribution of a single peripheral nerve, the diagnosis is a mononeuropathy. Examples include radial nerve palsy, ulnar neuropathy, or common peroneal nerve palsy. If multiple individual peripheral nerves are affected, especially in an asymmetric pattern, consider a plexopathy or mononeuritis multiplex. Plexopathies commonly involve the brachial or lumbosacral plexus and produce weakness and sensory loss involving several nerves within one limb. If weakness follows a myotomal distribution with dermatomal pain or sensory loss and is associated with reduced corresponding reflexes, the lesion localizes to the nerve root, producing a radiculopathy. If lower motor neuron signs are present without sensory loss, consider disorders affecting the anterior horn cell, neuromuscular junction, or muscle. Anterior horn cell disorders produce pure motor weakness with muscle wasting and fasciculations while sensation remains normal. Examples include amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, spinal muscular atrophy, and poliomyelitis. If the weakness fluctuates or worsens with repeated activity, a neuromuscular junction disorder should be suspected. Patients often present with ocular or bulbar weakness and sensation remains normal. Examples include myasthenia gravis and Lambert-Eaton myasthenic syndrome. If weakness is predominantly proximal, symmetric, and non-fatigable with preserved sensation, the lesion most likely involves muscle. Reflexes are usually preserved until late in the disease, and serum creatine kinase may be elevated. Common causes include inflammatory myopathies, muscular dystrophies, and endocrine myopathies. One important clinical situation deserves special attention. When upper motor neuron and lower motor neuron signs occur together in the same patient without objective sensory loss, motor neuron disease should be strongly considered. Amyotrophic lateral sclerosis is the classic example and combines degeneration of both upper and lower motor neurons while generally sparing the sensory system. In summary, neurological localization follows a systematic sequence. First, determine whether the weakness is due to an upper or lower motor neuron lesion. For upper motor neuron lesions, look sequentially for cortical signs, cranial nerve involvement, and evidence of spinal cord disease before considering internal capsule or subcortical lesions. For lower motor neuron lesions, first determine whether sensory loss is present, then use the pattern of weakness to distinguish between peripheral nerve, plexus, nerve root, anterior horn cell, neuromuscular junction, and muscle disorders. A structured approach like this allows accurate anatomical localization and forms the foundation of neurological diagnosis.